Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Paul Thornley, and I have the great pleasure of watching all of your pieces and the horrible decision of who gets what. I originated the role of Ron Weasley in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, both in London and on Broadway. I do a whole lot of stupid voices in the Minions movie, which you may have seen. I did the movie of Les Miserables. So I've done a whole lot of stuff and a lot of old nonsense that your mums and dads might have seen. But it was a great joy to see all of you lot. Well done. Really amazing stuff. I've never done this before, and the standard was so high. Thank you. Right, we are now on to the A1 acting solos, and the acting was A1. It was amazing, really special. So, with a silver medal and 88 points and a distinction is Marnie, who was giving us her Fat Sam from Bugsy Malone. I loved your Fat Sam voice, and I've been living in New York for the past 3 years, and you sounded just like some of my mates. It was brilliant and really funny. Congratulations, well done. And with 91 points, an outstanding, and the gold medal is Eloise. You took me on a whole fabulous journey, just with your amazing, beautifully expressive face and eyes. I saw every single thing in that story in your face. And listen, I'm 46. I want to be like you. I want to achieve that, because that was brilliant. I loved it. I loved every single moment of it. Congratulations. Right. A2 solos. In bronze place with 87 points and a distinction is Rose. I particularly loved the quieter moments when you were talking to yourself in the scene. It's always tricky when you're on stage and you have to talk to yourself, because it's quite an unnatural thing to do. But I really felt I was in there in the quieter moments. It's tricky with the more expressive moments, because obviously you've got to be heard and you've got a great voice for that. But just try and be specific with your eyes. Be specific of who, points of focus, really. Because otherwise we're not quite sure who you're talking to. But the quieter moments in particular, I loved. Congratulations. With 88 points and a silver medal and a distinction is Camilla. I really enjoyed this scene. I loved all of your physicality with the orchestra. I've not seen that scene before. It was really fun. And yeah, I thought you're great enthusiasm and great energy and a great voice. Congratulations. We have a joint gold medal winner with 89 points. The first person is Hattie. I would not mess with your character. You were terrifying. Wow. And what was great about this scene, because American accents, well, any accents, are tricky. And it never detracted from the acting, because sometimes people are so busy thinking about how they say things that they forget to do the other stuff. And your points of focus were excellent. I really knew who you were talking to and when, and you were very specific about it. Amazing. 89 points. And the other joint winner of the gold medal with 89 points of the distinction is Olivia. Now, Olivia, you have been born with a thing called funny bones, and you really made me laugh. you'll go a long way with those funny bones. The bit I loved was when you went, anyway, back to the bit about me. I just thought it was brilliant. And I would pay to see you play that part on stage. And I hope you do. I'll be first in the queue, but well done all of you, congratulations. Hello. Right, we are on to A3 acting solos. And the 3 winners in this category are so contrastingly different. Amazing. But I've decided to award 2 silver medals and 1 gold because it was just too hard. So the first silver medal with 88 points and a distinction goes to Andy, who did a brilliant, moving piece about refugees. I loved the moments of stillness that you had. Really tricky scene to pull off because the story galloped along at an amazing pace. And the only thing I'd say is finish the thought before you move on to the next one. Because sometimes it felt like it was a bit of a runaway train, that you were on to the next thing before you'd completely finished this thing. But beautiful. The second silver medal, with 88 points and a distinction, goes to Jenna, who did a lovely piece that I'd never seen before with her imaginary friend. The only little tip that I would say to you is try and think up, because it's really tricky when you're playing someone who's nervous or shy or a bit embarrassed. The instinct, which I totally get, is to look down, is to, go in. But we have to sort of cheat it, particularly in a theatre and with a camera, because we want to see your brilliant acting and your beautiful, expressive little face, but we can't see any of that if we can see the top of your head. So it's that thing about trying to think up, then that opens everything out and you let the audience in, whether that be a TV or a film audience, and particularly a theatre audience, especially when you've got a big gallery up there. Just try and think up. The gold medal, with 89 points and a distinction, goes to Hannah. I loved the moments when you engaged directly with the camera or audience. I can tell you're a brilliant dancer, just from the way you had command of your physicality within that scene. I loved that scene. I love all the stuff about the bath mat, and you were in total command. You knew exactly what you were doing with your focus and with your body and with your voice. It was an almost perfect performance. Thank you. Hello. I'm now going to do the A3 acting solos, which was a very full and very high standard of category. In bronze place with 87 points is Thea. Your scene got better and better and better and better the further it went on. I thought I was beautifully engaged with it, particularly by the end. The only thing I'd say is you've still got to do the beginning of scenes. And, generally in acting things, build to a crescendo, but we've still got to enjoy that time before we get there. That's the only thing I would say, but a brilliant performance. In the silver medal with 88 points and a distinction is Mia. I thought your energy in this scene was beautiful. I mean, my daughter has spoken to me not too differently from that. I felt that you were very much the boss of the relationship with you and your dad in this scene. I loved it. Well done. And in the gold medal position with 89 points and a distinction is Livy. Your American accent is fantastic. I loved the simplicity of your performance. I loved the stillness that you had. The only tiny little thing I thought, when you got to that section with all the, when you really went there with the yelling, I just thought there's just a tiny bit further that you could have gone. I felt you were right on the edge of letting it all hang out. It's very, it's a very vulnerable thing to do because you're letting a bit of your own self out with all of those things. But I think if you have an opportunity to go there, really go there. But a gold medal, 89 points, amazing. I'm now going to do the A4 solo, and I'm going to award 85 points and a silver medal to Emma. I loved this performance. It was a scene that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting that scene to go where it went. All the bit with getting drunk with your nan and all that. I loved it. And I like the impression you did of your nan in the scene. And then it goes pretty dark, that scene. I'd love to have seen just a technical thing. It's really weird at the moment having to film all these things as opposed to seeing it in person. But I would have liked to have seen a lot more of your face if you have to do another one of these things. Don't worry so much about, just try and shoot yourself from here, because this is where it all goes on. And I could see it was all going on. I just would have liked to have seen it a bit closer. And when it does go really dark, I think you can afford to let yourself go a little bit more. But I thought it was a beautiful performance. Thank you. Hello, A2 duos. That's who I'm talking to now. Apologies for the rain outside. It's bonkers. But I was very grateful to have you lot to watch to take my mind off it. So I'm going to start in bronze place. It's a joint bronze, both with 87 marks each. So the first third bronze place are Camilla and Rose. And I really enjoyed the physicality from both of you. I love the bit when you jumped in each other's arms, but maybe just slow down a little bit sometimes, just so that we can hear everything that you're saying. But the energy between you was lovely, and I really enjoyed it, and I liked all the rowing. The other joint bronze place are Layla and Olivia, and you've both got excellent speaking voices. I would so love to see you in a theatre, but sometimes try and bring a little bit of light and shade to it. I think sometimes, I've done this in myself, I've played a few big characters, and if you're playing a big character you feel like you've got to be big all the time, but it's finding those little moments when you can just give it some light and shade, and just try a few moments which aren't quite as big. And the same the other way around. If you're playing quite a timid person, then sometimes you can, they have moments when they break out of their timidness and their nervousness. But I really loved it. So in the silver medal place with 89 points is Annabelle and Lily. Forgive me if I get you mixed up, but whoever was the gossipy one, I loved how you just kept digging away at her. And then when the other one really got cross when they said that your dad was poor, I totally believed you in that moment. And that's all that we want to achieve as actors, is to have those moments when people believe us. I mean, hopefully they believe us all the time. It doesn't always happen. And I also loved the way that you both listened. It wasn't just waiting until it was your go. I could see it in your eyes. It was really special. And with 90 points and in the gold medal spot are Barney and Hattie. And I would pay to watch you two on stage. It was so well rehearsed, and your chemistry together was magical. It was brilliant. One tiny little thing, that when you're using, your fancy voices, just because it's a new voice for the audience to hear, just take your time and relish those a little bit, because we've not heard them before and they're really funny and really brilliant, but just let us in. But I mean, 90 points, gold medal. Congratulations, all of you. I loved it. Right, we're now moving on to the A3 duo, and Hannah and Thea, or Helena and Hermia, as I like to think of them. Amazing diction. You've both got brilliant stage voices. I'm sure every single person in that audience heard every single word you said. And the physicality was amazing. I think you could maybe explore the freedom of being on stage a little bit more. When you know it as well as you two did, it was very, very clear. Sometimes you can get stuck in a bit of a rhythm of doing, because you've rehearsed it so much, and it's the same every time, that you almost stop listening to each other. It's very easily done, and you've always got to try and keep listening. But that's a tiny, tiny little thing, which is why I'm very pleased to announce 87 points, which is a distinction, and a silver medal. Congratulations, I loved it.